This one is a doozy, and it's going to be real quick for whoever you all are out there whenever you do see this video. I honor you if you are a benevolent being, meaning you may not be perfect. None of us are. You may have room for growth. All of us do. You may make mistakes. I certainly do too. But when I say benevolent, I mean you have no ill will and hidden dishonor that you are governed or ruled by. You attempt to be a decent being, even in life as it pertains to folks maybe you don't really get or understand, or maybe they're different than you, and maybe you don't agree with certain things and one thing and another, but you still have something inside of you that governs your conduct, that governs what you do and not do. So if that is you, and you consider yourself truly a decent being, not just for likes, shares, and subscribes, and follows, and clicks, and not just for the paparazzi and photo ops and, plaques and all of those things, okay? But you actually are. Meaning, even when you have on the ring of Gyges, you still conduct as such. And what I mean by that is, even when you think that there's no one who would ever know or see anything to do with what you're doing, you still are governed and ruled by that behavior. Okay, because everybody can put on a show when they think all surveillance is present. Okay, when all surveillance is present, that's the human nature default setting. When all surveillance, meaning any law or authority or anybody that we hold in high regard and want us to hold in high regard, if they're present and we know they're present and they're watching and we know they're watching, we all have a tendency to kind of, at least for intensive purposes, seem to straighten up and fly right and appear to be all right. Okay. Um, but as soon as we, when we're in that frequency, as soon as we think all clear, we're back at the shenanigans. Case in point, many of us, those of us that's from the ghetto, in our younger years, okay, y'all know how it is. You first start driving, and you think you the shit, and you wanna show out and all that good old stuff. Speed demon, your feet got lead in them. And you're doing the mostest, okay? But when 5-0, one time, some of us remember those sayings, okay? If you think 5-0 and one time is on your heels, what do? You get real uncomfortable, you get real paranoid, and you really start to overcorrect. You start to super, super, super drive, perfectly, because you suspect that one time or 5-0 is on that ass, right? But y'all remember how it was when we were younger. But as soon as you thought that 5-0 or the highway patrol, whoop, you know, ain't around, and it's back at the speed demon. It's back at, you're leaning so far back, might as well lay down. It's back at, what I'm saying, all that bullshit. Well, that's how most humans are, right? Most of us. So those of you who you've outgrown that way of life and you are still a decent being, even if you got the ring of Gyges on and you think that no one will ever know. Okay. So again, I salute you and I honor you for watching. Now, this is a doozy. I know that was a long intro, right? Okay. So this is a doozy for whoever this is for. Hey, I don't know. I don't got all the answers, y'all. Okay. Neither do I pretend to have all the answers. I don't. And there's nobody walking in this realm and plane of existence that does. Okay. And if they claim and they do, they're lying to you. Okay. Now, so here's a doozy. This is a karmic situation with the karmic cycles. You guys see hashtag psychopaths for a reason, because this, whatever this has been in terms of this obsession with these feminines, these honorable feminines' lives, for whatever the motivation is. We're not going to get into all these people's various motivations because it's varied. Some of it is just good old fashioned vengeance. They simply not like the collective. Period. Point blank. The end. They don't like them. And they want them gone, bitch. Okay. So some of them out there, it ain't got nothing to do with nothing too deep, okay? With the exception of, I just don't like the motherfucker, okay? But for others, this is a wide array of things. There's big money on the table, and this is a part of why it's been elaborate to hide the fugitive, okay? This is why. There's big money on the table. There's too many, there's there's spiffs, I mean, there's one thing and another. And again, if there's a unified goal of hatred, and this person may be the supreme haters of haters since ever the collective existed, which means it's old hate. It's that old ancient, it's that old evil bitch, you know? Anyway, so I laugh because I don't know what to say. I don't know what to think or say, but I'm just going to say this, okay? I know that I do have information. I know that I want to say this delicate, and I want to not, I'm trying to not overshare. So bear with me. Okay, so I'll say there's authority that's not connected to any of them, that's not corrupt. They're all around us, whoever you are. More than you know and more than they know. And I don't know how long this has been, okay? So in other words, all of this sneakiness is something that they have become aware of. Okay? Now here's the kicker. Collective, you might get wind of something or see something, and because you're kind of just like, okay, well, it is what it is, it's gonna be which what's gonna be, the people is gonna have to do what they gonna have to do. Look, this is funny. Look, we just had Halloween, right? Just follow me. This is gonna be fun. Follow. See, when you have somebody that is on the run and somebody that is trying to hide the fact that they are present, not just only from the collective, but they're trying to. What do you do if you want to get somebody off the track? Especially people who are kind of maybe I want to say a typical thinker, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, because most of us are. That's your process of observation and evaluation goes, I see what appears to be a male or what appears to be a female. Isn't that kind of how we go? When there's a description, because what happens when you contact authority, okay, a law enforcement, they're going to be asking you, okay, could you describe, do you know this person? Do you know their name? Could you describe what they look like, what they have on? Do you know whether or not they're a male or female? And nowadays we have to be very sensitive because, PC, you have he, she, how's it go? Non-binary, they have he, she, uh, I'm sorry, forgive me. I apologize. I don't know all of them, okay? I'm just saying nowadays there's so many other factors, but they'll still try to ask you, in the name of, as they're interviewing, evaluating, blah blah blah, they're going to ask you, can you describe what you think you saw? Can you describe, even if you're wrong, maybe that's not their gender, but what did they appear to be? Okay? So for a karmic that is trying to hide, for an obsessed psychopath, okay, just follow me. Whether, please, y'all, we got to take our sensitivities off for 5 minutes. Okay, I think it's fascinating how sensitive people suddenly become when it's folks like myself talking, but watches the most vulgar shit every day, all day. Okay, looking at, from rap music to, comedy. And you hear and see some of the most disrespectful and vulgar lyrics, behavior, and you name it. And yet we all, those of us that are into it anyway, yet we laugh, we chuckle, we like, yup, whoop, dapping, and all that shit, But all of a sudden, when it's truth telling time, about people's involvement and behaviors and things, all of a sudden it's sensing, oh my God, oh my God, I can't believe she said that. She is so toxic. Is Snoop Dogg toxic to you, or are you listening to his tracks? Is Cat Williams toxic to you, or are you watching his comedy shows? See, and I ain't got nothing against none of these people I'm mentioning. In fact, I like they shit. So that's not where I'm going. I'm simply proving a point. It's cherry picking. Okay, and that's typically because somebody wants something to be silenced. So they'll try the old adage of, you know, oh my God, yeah, let's look at the fact, let's look at the reality of the shit that's happening. Okay, so back to the point. I said psychopathic because this is psychopathic behavior. Okay. Now, whether or not people went to the doctor and got a clinical, that's neither here nor there. We are addressing the behavior and the support that they're getting. And is it not psychopathic in nature? Because if people are helping somebody to stalk somebody, that's a psychopath. That's the end of the story. And game, baby, mic drop, period, bitch. That's it. They're not only aiding and abetting. I don't care if it's for $1 million, nigga. They're not only aiding and abetting so they can get their insurance poly. Okay? So they can get their insurance poly. They're aiding and abetting so they get that insurance poly. Okay? And whatever was offered. Now, that's psychopathic behavior to assist someone, follow my thought, because that's what's going on with whoever you all are, this situation, to assist someone to stalk someone in a very creepy way. And let me go even deeper. This collective of karmics, most of them are related to the collective. Not all of them, but most of them that are going to these extreme lengths, they're actually related. And their obsession with having such close proximity is, in fact, psychopathic in nature. Okay? Their obsession to be above their relatives in the same complex property and estranged at that, because a close-knit family, let me just say this for the record, just to be fair, shits and giggles. Okay, there are some people that have close-knit families in a healthy sense. Okay, let's say healthy, non-toxic, non-codependent. It exists. Okay, there are people who have that, and I have respect for that. And if they are so privileged to have that, you know, that's good for them if it's healthy. And I'm gonna keep highlighting if it is indeed a healthy, mutually respecting type of vibe. Okay, where people want to be close to those they love, and they uh, let's say it's a complex and they want, everybody to have their own unit so that they can all kind of be close in a little same community. And okay, I get that. I do. I mean, because what that's a, that's normal. Now, depending on how far they're willing to go to make sure that happen, and then that might change what I'm saying about it. Because if they start getting toxic in behavior, in order to force that, even if it means violating somebody else, then it just went from normal and healthy to cray cray. Okay? So these obsessed relatives have been following. You guys have heard the stories. I've got various videos up about how they have been doing it by proxy, how they've been doing it, via the internet because of social media. That's really one of the main portals that is used, but that is used in order to be able to even physically do it. These are people who have also committed crimes in the collective name. I got recent documentation. Woo! And I can only imagine that I'm only just beginning to unravel some of the crazy shit they've been doing. Okay? Connected to the one I called mother, and the one I called sister, and the one I called niece. But they've been violating. See, these types of violations have been happening to the collective for a long time, because this is also what makes it almost virtually impossible for them to ever stabilize. When you have people that feel entitled to utilize your credit, your information, because they have it, and then when you have them wanting to do it so that they could try to get you in trouble via doing shit with your information while singing the Hallelujah chorus on Sunday, probably yesterday. Hallelujah. Anyway, trips me out. I only say that because some of you who wonder why I do that, because it trips me out. Okay, it trips me out how all these masks, these double, it's like on one end it's all of this glory, glory, Jesus, Jesus, Bible, Bible, hallelujah, cross, and then on the other end it's plotting and scheming and trying to. What kind of shit is that? It trips me out. That's all I'm saying. It's like I can't swallow that. Even though I understand that we're all imperfect, I can't swallow a life like that, especially past a certain age. Because there's only so long we're going to be able to skate by on it was a phase, it was a mistake, it was a this and that. No, that sounds like this is a lifestyle you want to be toxic. um anyway, this obsession with following around these feminines, these honorable feminines, has reached an all-time high. Okay, ridiculous. They've partnered up, like I said, with like-minded energies that share the same trauma as they do, and one of the things they do, that's how they connect and bond with people. Yep, they connect through toxicity. They bond through toxicity. They bond through, you know what I'm saying, shared dislike and shared disillusionment regarding whoever their target is. Okay? That's how they relate. And that is how they build relationships and connections. Okay? So now, these karmic relatives of the honorable feminines, like I said, they've definitely been involved and frequent where they live, and they ain't just started. This has been happening, and they connect with various residents, staff members, whomever is willing. Not everybody is, and I believe situations where people don't be willing, from what I'm starting to gather, like what starts to happen to people who like don't want to be a part of it, like they be disappearing and shit. Like, for an example, at the gym that I go to, it was a guy that worked there that was very nice to me, very kind, okay, and very helpful. And guess what? He gone. He gone, honey. He was there for a long time and he gone. He gone now. That's the kind of shit I think that happens to, the individuals who maybe like refuse to be a part of it. So now, back to what I was saying, to get on point. This obsession has reached an all-time high. They have already violated the human and civil rights of the feminine and their children. They have already, there's so many criminal acts, it doesn't even make no sense. They stole the collective's money, and I'm not talking about $5 out of a wallet, though they did reduce themselves to having somebody steal the EBT card of a disabled person, which is their relative. Okay? But they have stolen big money. Big money. And that's how they have, offered people deals and shit for a very long time with the shit that belongs to the collective. Now, outside of that, some of them had lovers that had money. There's various different things that they did over time. Okay, if they had lovers that had a significant amount of money, then they had the lovers assisting, not knowing what they're assisting in with that. Some of them didn't know, maybe some of them did. Okay, they had cults that they were once upon a time a part of that was investing in, but since this person or these collectives, they didn't follow even their own cults that they were a part of before they became their own cult. Okay, their leaders at some point when they were part of these other cults was like, you can't do this, you can't do that. Okay, we're gonna pull back, we're gonna stop, blah blah blah, and they didn't care about any of that. And the cults become upset because it brings too much undesirable attention to their whole little shebang bang. And it's a reason why they have wisdom. It's a reason why they say we're going to call it on this, we're going to pull back, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It's a reason. Okay, even the corrupt, and I hate to say it, because it's like I'm not taking up for the corruption, but it's like even some of them know it's like we got to call it. We got to call it. Fuck that. It's not a good idea. You know, we're gonna go to our next project because we're a secret society and we kind of want to keep it like that. Okay. Well, on top of we ain't we understand energetic shit that people pretending to not know nothing about or pretending to not know exists, and we not trying to have to deal with honorable feminists and these motherfuckers. So we finna to put it ain't that deep. Okay, time is up, time ran out. This didn't okay. We just gotta chop it up. Okay, we're business people. Okay, shit. You win some, you lose some. You supposed to know when you supposed to know when to hold them and know when to fold them, know when to walk away. You can't that arrogance, that pride, kill you. It'll have your ass bankrupt because of that. I insist, right? That obsession. So they they refused. Bear with me, y'all, because I'm outside, so you got to excuse me here. I'm going to check the mail. It'd be better to do. We'll see who laughs and laughs. But back to what I was saying. See who smiled. Them smiles going to be knocked off their face real soon. Back to what I was saying. So they need energy so bad it's pathetic. Parasites. They've been starved in the last couple of days. That's why. Anywho, as I was saying, they all make themselves obvious, so this is not even a mystery. I'm already okay with that. I already know what it is. It is what it is. The same chick earlier, when I was out here earlier, the same chick with the braids came out. I already know. That's why I'm like, this is done. They just refuse, but that's on them. Now, in terms of this obsession, these karmic obsessed siblings are disguising as a different gender. So that when they're out and about, if they do get spotted, okay, if by chance they get spotted, if they get spotted, that at first glance the description is going to be appears to be an African American, whatever the culture, an African American male with a beard, with a long beard, some shades, a hoodie. Now here's where it's getting kind of funny. There's certain moments that they slip up. They slip up when they think the world is asleep, when they think that the collective is either asleep or gone, when they think that there's no possibility of any uncorrupt authority, because they know about the corrupt authority because they fucking some of them. But the uncorrupt authority, so chances are either late at night, or early in the morning. And if you did something out of routine, you might have seen your sibling in a black pickup truck with some big Audrey Hepburn glasses on and a hoodie. And they were shocked to see you. And maybe you were shocked to see them. And then when you looked at another glance, all of a sudden, that face that didn't have a beard has on a long beard. How did they grow a beard? When you first saw their face, it was a hoodie and some Audrey Hepburn glasses on, a black 4x4 pickup truck parked in front of your, where you be, in front of that building. And one of their cult members that's in that same building pulled up shortly after you being out there, sat there in the car and drove off. So they came to sit there for a few minutes and to leave near the black pickup 4x4. And maybe as you sat down, decide, I'm just gonna sit down, just get it's some fresh air. It's a beautiful day. See, these people, they don't know you. These people think they do. They don't know you. None of them do. And that's good. It's good they don't. Because they'll be arrogant and smug. And that always works in our favor, doesn't it? Because they mock, they laugh, they hee and ha. Let them do it. It won't last very long. So you sit down, then they could have opened up the door, the man, woman, since, they're trying to disguise in a blink, the man, woman, whatever, it, thing. They try to disguise, collective. They could have tried to disguise. I'm just giving y'all what y'all situation could be. That's why I said this is funny, but you have to think like a criminal. You have to think like somebody who is needing at all costs. Because again, for some of y'all, these people, not all of them, some of them got warrants out, possibly under one of their aliases. Because these are people who got a good 20 social security numbers. Okay? A good 20. And different names, okay? So, whether or not these warrants are under their birth given name or not, that's not, I don't know. But they are, yeah, and they know they do. Now, if the people, and now that's another thing, if the people that's like aiding and abetting or trying to hide them from me, whether or not they know that, that's going to be another factor that they'll be paying for. Because if they are not only helping them to stalk, they know this person's got a warrant, and running from something. And they just chopped off some more charges on that ass. Um, yeah. But that's what I'm trying to say is like when you have somebody who needs to not be easily identified, then it makes sense, doesn't it? That they would try to, at least on some level, when there's a lot of activity, disguise themselves as the opposite gender. Because then at first glance, then whoever is watching is going to look the other way, because you're looking for, let's say they're trying to give description, we're looking for an African American woman, approximately 5'4", you know what I'm saying, this complexion, and blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying? And when we act out of character, and I shouldn't say character, when we break our mold or our kind of routine of patterns of what they have patterned us to do or are expecting us to do, because some of us, our team may be doing a couple of things, understanding that we're dealing with low keys and Ursula Sea witches. It's like, very well, two can play that. So that's when they'll be vulnerable, because you're going to be vulnerable at some moment. You gotta, whoever's chauffeuring her around, him around, whomever letting them use their car, because they were driving 4x4. I wrote the information down, or I screenshotted it. It's somewhere, but we're not gonna get into that. For some of you, it could be a different color car. Some of you, it might be the exact same, because this is how this shit goes. That's why it resonates. Okay, but so they opened the door. Because see, maybe once upon a time, again, they don't know. I don't think they know that whatever you ever was, it's dead. In terms of you, basically them taking advantage of your trauma, your inner child, the conditioning, all that you were possibly as a young person, a young woman, and what they could really recall. That's so far removed from who we are. We may walk around, we have a cloak like everybody else, because we know what we're dealing with. But in terms of actuality, it's like, no, maybe you would have flinched and been scared, at certain thoughts. Or if they were going to get the car, you could have just sat there like, I really wish you would. Because let's go on ahead and finish this. I really wish you stopped being a coward. That could have been your vibe. Like, I really wish you would. Because I'm bored. I'm bored of this. This this preschool shit. I'm bored of this. Kind of vibe. Your ass sat there like, Are you gonna get out, or are you just playing open closed door? Because I didn't see nothing hanging out the tail of the car at the door, bitch. So are you opening to get out? Yeah, I sit there like, shit, finally, bitch. Finally? Don't stop hiding behind your little puppets. Dun, 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 You make them do wrong. They your puppet. So They didn't do it. Okay. They just opened and closed and just sat there. Never got out. Never did anything. Never got out. Just sat there. You could have just sat there. Like, okay, I'm outside. This is a beautiful day. I don't understand what this weird activity is about. I'm outside. Why is everybody being weird? Then their co-member and the tan compass came back. Okay. After they left. Because it's like the co-member came, sat there for a few minutes, and just for a couple minutes and left. As they opened and closed the door and they sat there for a few minutes, when they could have saw you move or get up or do any kind of movement whatsoever, then that's when they decided to leave. Then not long after they leave, then their cult member returns, get out, and goes into the very same building. This is the situation where, especially for those of you who are dealing with, if these folks are above any unit that you are, okay, whether it's you, your children, that you live, that you stay there, and they're upstairs and above, this is something that they have been obsessed with, being things going on up there, participating in this, ceremonial ritual abuse that they are doing daily, all day. So what they do, like I said, because sometimes the resident of those units will be gone, or they're playing, what they call it, musical chairs with vehicles, musical chairs, moving around, the cars, other places, trying to do tricks, let one drive, one, blah, 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 blah. Trying to fuck with the collective's head. The collective don't care anymore because it's already been cracked, so they don't really care. It's the regularly scheduled program. There is no originality to any of this whatsoever. It's very it is very much obvious and predictable. Okay, so they swap out. So let's say one's got to go, then somebody else come in there. And they really went to town yesterday. And the reason why they were doing it, because they're not getting any feed. The collective, you all could be detoxing, okay? And a lot of people misread and interpret that, which is fine, because we're not doing stuff for people. That ain't our vibe. So let them feel and think and believe it is whatever they wanted to think and believe it is. And so they're really just going to town. Maybe they thought it was working. Maybe they, I don't know. Just extra with it, with the disruptiveness. Okay? You all are doing self-care. Purging out, getting rid of shit, rearranging shit, tending to your affairs, because you all are realizing that a lot of it has been designed to have you not able to focus on the things that you need to pay attention to because you're too busy. You see that? So that they can easily steal from you and do some more dumb shit, basically. So then when you all could have left out maybe 24 hours later, or maybe the next day, maybe they didn't expect that. Maybe y'all reposted something, because again, see, if you're patterning things, if you reposted something on one of your platforms, they're watching your every move, and they have their people watching your every move in social media. So something could have came out about FBI being up on tails, them and Masons and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, As you go back in your unit or the units, now it's quiet. And the reason it's quiet is because maybe perhaps the people that's associated with that unit is not there. And they know that you know, and they saw the repost or somebody gave them the information about it. So just know that even if you, collective, you may just be getting wind of this yourself, okay? You could be just getting wind. But whoever the integral, I have to differentiate because there's corrupt leaders and authority, okay? But then there's those that aren't a part of that, okay? You have your corrupt law, and then you have the others that's truly trying to uphold the standards in which they claim to have made an oath for, okay? So they already know before, they know about it before you. So this is interesting. So if it seems like it's just kind of quiet or that's because, as I've told you all before, one thing I've learned over the years about like any kind of integral type of investigatory type of stuff, whoever the folks are that they're investigating will never know, including us. Because in order to get proper information, you're present, you cannot be discovered. You have to not be seen in a sense. And if you're seen, you have to be seen as something that is nothing to do with, so these agents, they are just as skilled, if not more so skilled and trained as these corrupt motherfuckers are, including your relatives. Okay? So something is happening. It's unraveling. Okay? I had some dreams I'm not going to get into. I don't think I'm guided to share, but I don't know if it was a dream or premonition or, what to call it. Because again, I don't claim to have it all figured out and the answers. I don't claim to know all things that there is to know about all things that there needs to know shit about. I don't. So I just know that as a pattern, the way some things seem to have worked. I understand that some stuff is false and injected by deep state. I'm aware of MK Ultra, MK Naomi. I'm now aware of those things as well. Okay. So we'll see. And what I have to say to you, collective, about that, if this message is for you, well, continue to shift up and shake up your game. Continue to remember, this is, you trigger their movement. This is why you see a lot of people get super active when you're really quiet, because they're trying to gauge you. They're trying to see what you're thinking, what you're planning, they're trying to read you. They're trying to scan your energy. They're trying to, pick up on body language and voice. And, they're trying to use all those things to determine what you may or may not know, what you may or may not do. They're also wanting to use that to determine, to see if any of their rituals are working effectively. So if you're quiet, then they are speculating, okay, well, maybe it's working. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they're exhausted. Maybe they're this and that. And we're going to be okay with that, aren't we? Because we really don't care about that. See, they're all consumed. And I thought about this, and I'm going to end this here in about however long it takes. They're consumed with ruining you. Life is happening, but they're consumed to such a magnitude. It's consuming their mind, body, and soul, their energy, their resources. It's consuming. I laughed yesterday. I was like, and all of that could have been on some legit shit. It could have been on becoming healthy and whole for themselves. It could have been on creating something for these, you know, displaced individuals and community and society, since a lot of them claim to be philanthropists and charitable and claim to care about shit and blah, 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 blah. Okay. All of that could have been some time. You see where I'm going with that? All those cars could have been cars for nigga. I ain't finna nigga. Let me get off that one. Because I'm like, yeah, it could have been to some of these single mamas and single daddies out there, or to manpower to go on a hunt for these people that's swiping up these kids and shit. Give them some information. You know, the motherfucker looked like, you know what I'm saying? It could have been on some legit shit. Nah. Ain't on none of that. Ain't on none of that. Even the spells, even the knowledge about that could have been on some get these niggas. You know what I'm saying? Could have been on some get these pervs out here in these here Americas doing shit a little churn. No, it's on their obsessions and their greed, in their unnatural passion and hate, which gives a reveal of what they are versus what they're pretending to be. The thought came to my mind. I kind of shook my head and I said, you know, it could be. This could have been all healthy things for them and all these people. All of that concentrated effort could have been on healthy things for them and all these people, becoming healthier people, or some healthier creative stuff. And if not, if you want to be on the charitable side, then something that's really serving society. And then I thought about 1988, I think 88, 89. I thought about Fatal Attraction. There's a scene that came to my mind when I was thinking about how sad this is for them. She was having withdrawal symptoms from not being able to have access to the guy that she had an affair with. Okay, they had like this weekend, 3-day, 4-day love affair, you know, that seems perfect. And, you know, she fell in love and she thought it was going to turn into something. And then he got a case of a reality check and regretted it and didn't want to lose his family. And so he put an end to it. Okay. Now in the movie, he gives this woman everything those of us who've been played wish we were given. Okay, he gave her he gave her the truth. He apologized. He acknowledged, so forth. He made it clear. He didn't blame her and any of those things. He gave her everything. I'm not saying his behavior was correct for having an affair. I'm just saying he gave her everything that most of us have been played, cheated on, lied to, ghosted, made to feel like it was our fault. Like, you see what I'm saying? Wish that somebody gave us. He gave her all those things. And, she played like she was going to be able to accept it and was going to be able to be okay with it. And then she got into her weird behavior, her weird vengeance and obsessions with this man and this man's family, including his wife and his child, to such an extent that she shows up at different things to make him nervous and uncomfortable with his wife, to such an extent that she goes to their child's school and picks this is a little girl. This is how you know you're dealing with psychopathic energy. This is a little girl that has nothing to do with these weird adult crazy issues and affairs. Yet she suffered because of the psychotic behavior and the lack of proper adult discernment and all those things. She goes to pick up this little girl from school and takes her to an amusement park. So make like I'm your friend. I'm your friend. I'm a friend of your mommy's. I'm your auntie. I'm your, you know what I'm saying? And traumatizes the little girl. Put her on a scary ride, a 6-year-old. Okay? Then she breaks in their home, and the bunny belongs to the little girl. And so what did she do to the bunny? She killed it. She boiled it. That was the little girl's bunny. That wasn't the dude's bunny. It wasn't the wife's bunny. It was the little girl's bunny. Again, that don't have nothing to do with the psychoticness and whatever kind of shenanigans that's going on with these adults. They're just an innocent bystander caught up in with a psychotic people, much like my son and some of you all's children. Okay. She boils a rabbit. Okay. Now, the final scene that came to my mind is this. She was sitting on the floor because she's having withdrawals about it being over and not being able to have access. She was sitting on the floor in her little apartment under a lamp, clicking the lamp on and off, listening to some sad, melodramatic music. Okay? She was flickering the light on and off. Now, in my image, I saw her like bumping her head. I don't think she was bumping her head in the movie, but what I saw was like just like hitting her head against the wall. And I think the reason why I saw that, because in my case, this noise, this disruptive thumping and bumping for hours, that's what it reminds me of. While they're bumping and thumping for hours collective, you're cleaning, you're going through, because see, they want you to just go back and forth and energetically fight. They want you to keep focusing your attention on them and fighting so that you're not cleaning your house, so that you're not paying attention to when your bills are due, so that you're not living and doing the things that you would otherwise be doing. They want you to fear them, but we don't fear them because we actually can see them for what they are. They want you to fear their spell work, but they don't understand that you know something that they'll never know that you know. You even know something that even they don't. They want to keep you in that because you can feel the nasty, yucky energy. Ooh, I'm gonna make myself creepy and my presence known to be creepy, crawly all over you and your kids' energy. I'll do a series on the biofield from a scientific and a matter of fact perspective to help folks out there in the world who is kind of anti-spiritual. But to bring the bridge so folks can understand, okay, you'll understand this when I'll get finished. Okay. If somebody was to take your skin off, your body would be very much compromised and feel very sensitive and very subject to a whole lot of things if you did not have skin on your body. The biofield is very similar, but we'll get into that when I get ready to discuss that. So as I said, like that last image, that's what I thought. I'm like, how sad. I saw the Fatal Attraction chick sitting on the floor, flickering the lamp, but bumping her head. That is what you all's obsessed relatives, that's their vibe. And that's the vibe of anybody that they have helping them, working with them. It's like hours where they could be having a life. They could be somewhere maturing. They could be going, learning something. They could be figuring out how to, evolve and be better people. And, all sorts of stuff could be happening with those hours, with that energy, more productive, healthier things, loving. And it kind of showed me, it proved why, the cosmic question of the hour, why me? And a lot of them out there did that. Why her? Why her? Why her? I'm better. I'm better. It'll be better with me. It should be me. Why her? I want what's hers. I'll be a better her than her. They didn't had a whole entourage of 12 times 12 times 12 over and over again and still haven't really managed to do that. While we're just one ourselves, and that's all we're trying to be. But as I thought of that, it showed me it. It had nothing to do with any kind of perfection that I have, because I don't have it. I don't have perfection. I'm flawed. It's messy. This whole thing has been messy, and I've done the best I can do, considering all things that has happened. Okay? But my focus and intention and motivation and heart and standard has been the total opposite spectrum as I thought of those two examples. It's like they spending 8 hours doing all that. Meanwhile, myself and you collective, you're over here trying to figure out how to be a better mother, how to be a better you, how to heal and become whole and grounded, how to recover from a poor decision, how to rebuild, cleaning and purging out unessentials, how to detox, how to, you're spending, how to create and things from a healthy space. You're using your hours. You see that? Your skill, your resources. See the difference? And so one day, some of them will get it, maybe in the other afterlife. That's the answer to the question. That's why. Because they ain't got nothing to do with looks. It don't have nothing to do with status. It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with all the things that most humans are stuck and glued on, thinking that that is how you govern somebody's worth. And some of these people were only able to get some of what they have through fuckery to begin with. When I say fuckery, I'm not saying a mistake. I'm saying an active, long-standing career and life of trying to steal from others or cheat other people out of something for one's own personal gain. Hurting people intentionally, those types of things. We all have a story. That's why.